Hello everyone and welcome to your horoscope for the week of January the 20th till 26th, 2025. Well, this is gonna be definitely one of those weeks where a lot is happening. And not just externally, perhaps externally it's the new norm, not the new norm that it's tumultuous and we cannot trust anything. Anything has 10 plus sides to it before we get to the core. So that's that type of norm. So that is definitely gonna be unfolding in full swing and glory. But this is where it might also get busy in our lives in a more karmic way and inside of us. But this is also the that period of time when the inner and outer don't have a very powerful and stable boundary. They're not separated from one another rigidly. So that makes everything very, very interesting because this is one of those weeks where we wake up to the fact that reality is really a clay. And what is the most special thing I find in all this energy? That it definitely not in the spiritual context. We wake up to the fact from a rather non aggressively spiritual, non religious, of course, perspective that life is really just the projection of the inside, but in an, as I say, non-spiritual way, where it is more like a common sense way, where every illusion disappointed us so powerfully that we got to that core truth that all I need to do is change the way I deeply feel. And that changes a lot of other things almost automatically. And this is definitely that type of week. Of course, in a rather psycho-emotional, from a rather psycho-emotional perspective, it is where we are feeling a lot of emotions, many times a lot of conflicting emotions, a lot of emotions that we thought we were done with for good. We thought we purged out or processed but this energy, it's almost like it digs up a layer of the past in such a vivid way where we're truly in like a personalized psychologist session, therapy session, but life is the therapist. And it's almost like at this moment, especially this week, life knows us. Life knows exactly who we are in our heart of hearts, and it is not allowing us to be as ourselves. So that part of the energy is in a way scary, but if we embrace it, it can be so honest that it's to the level of, I don't know, maximum elation. And it is the honesty that gives the sense of freedom, not the security, the honesty. And honesty in anything. My true, for example, we start the week with a Pluto conjunct Sun, my true power level, whatever that means to you personally, and in whatever situation, within my relationship, friends, circles, job, career, something, my true, honest, real power level, that which I can actually bear. Many people wake up to the fact that it is the power that they how should I put this, harvested due to their sacrifices. So of course they put a lot of effort, times, sacrifice in this. However, the motivation, the goal was grossly exaggerated within their beings. So the power, the harvest they received is not just uncomfortable, but a burden. I don't wish this anymore. I don't want to be this anymore, even if that means cutting out a good chunk of the past. Nothing will remain of my ego, because my ego was that professional, the wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend. My ego was so much that the loss made me almost not, but that's okay. That's absolutely fine, because freedom comes after, and the new power level that I gain is based on true self-knowledge, knowing my limits and my comfort. And comfort, knowing what someone's soul comfort. This is not the comfort that our bodies tell us. For example, this isn't the type of energy where the only way to know your chili or spice tolerance is to, follow the journey. We start with mild, and this can take place over the course of a year. You go to the restaurant, but each time you are more daring until you get to the level where you say, oh, this is a bit too much, so going back to the previous. That's my max tolerance. So the pattern is this, but it's not physical. It's not the physical body that says anything. Neither is it necessarily the direct perception of reality. So, not the immediate layer of the mind, not the lower mind, but rather deep, deep, like really deep, not just deep, but really deep heart. How should I even express this? Heart energy, like feelings in the heart, but in a lived way. But what does that mean? You're living it with the self. You are actually singularizing, focusing so deeply on what the feeling in your heart is, allowing it to be felt, that it does something a bit, let's say, magical. It's single. That's what singularizing means. It makes your being be compressed to one state, intention, whatever. You get my idea. So, but that in itself is really, really important for exactly the type of breakthrough that I am speaking. But why is it a breakthrough? Because doesn't this mean I will reach a limit, and which is uncomfortable, and that is how I know my limit? Yes, but the process and what you do with this new reflection of the self, oh, that's the new power, basically. So most of the week is also about power. Sun conjunct Pluto. But power, of course, means what did losses Pluto do to me, and any other Plutonian element. Power dynamics, money, but this is not necessarily the Venusian expression of money, but the Plutonian, the power effect, strong effect, dominance money has over everyone's life, except maybe people who truly went off grid. But Venus herself is also mixed very intensely in the picture. On one hand, she's in the sign of Pisces, and not just in a classical way, she will go retrograde as well, so come back here. So Venus has a mission in Pisces. She is there with a very strong purpose. That purpose is exactly what I said earlier, for us to allow certain feelings very strongly, because on one hand, she is conjunct Saturn. That is truth, and that is a type of self-love. the most honest type of self-love. Now, I can give you an example where certain professionals, especially medical professionals, over the course of years will have developed a certain behavioral pattern where they suppress rage. But that in their personal, as doctors, not only is it a must, but if you cannot do this, you're not a doctor. However, some doctors are fortunate or aligned enough or whatever to have in their personal lives exactly what they need to be balanced. Others not so much, and if they cannot, for example, they have a very sensitive partner. Well, you cannot joke in a more personal way with them. You can't. You can't rage at them. So that rage is gonna be built up. And it's gonna start dissolving them. Hence, a lot of problems that will result from that. And when they get to the phase where, okay, I need to balance myself out because this ain't working, and someone guides them to the fact that, well, this is repressed rage, you have to unleash that, you have to let that rage out. This is where everyone will how they can, and something works for everyone. They just need to find out what that is. But that's the moment. Venus conjunct Saturn, this is the exact moment. Rage is a feeling that we don't want to. Okay, we understand why, but it's divine. It needs to be felt through. Look at lions. Most time they're so playful and yeah, like cats. But when the alpha male or female for any reason is really not in the mood, there will come a warning with a look in her eye that, okay, don't play with my tail because I'm not really into it. The next time she will raise her head in a way and look very directly, as in, are you crazy? Stop. The third time, of course, will come the angry roar and the lash. Rage is part of existence itself. If even the cosmos, elements, nature rages, and let's be so honest with ourselves, there is this word, raging storm. That's not symbolic. That wasn't invented by poets. Every living being felt the rage of the elements and elementals at certain storms. There it is. We feel. Nature is about feeling, not knowing. So that's, and look at my example, the rage moment, the moment of maximum honesty, embracing it, integrating it, and no longer fearing it, but also in full acceptance that this will definitely not change anything in your job and profession and career. You will still, with the smile on your face, repress it, but now everything is different in the other side of your life because because you felt it and you understood it and you processed it. This is both Sun conjunct Pluto, both Venus conjunct Saturn, and this is both the energy of Aquarius, higher understanding, because your mind ultimately understands in a high way, right? But then there is the profound psycho-emotional integration of exactly this, the self-acceptance and true self-love moment, Venus conjunct Saturn, and neither of these energies have to be something pleasant. I am full of rage. I'm not happy. because I'm not proud of myself, but neither will I deny it. Neither, when I don't deny it to myself, I won't deny it to my friends, family, husband, wife, child. I will have the courage to admit them to them, but also to set the example. But look, it's not turning me into a bad person. I'm just not acting in front of you. The intimate connection. Intimacy, Sun conjunct Pluto. Of course, this energy will have kinky sides to it, and the typical expression, Sun freshly entered Aquarius, friends, social connections, basically the people who we're not necessarily connected intimately in any, even not even superficially. My neighbor, right? I see him every day and we speak every day, but nothing all that intimate and special. But the same goes for XYZ person I'm reading for, because that's all our connection. We are not pretending to be friends or anything else, but that doesn't mean we're not friendly and we're not loving each other maximally and honoring each other. We're happy with but this Aquarius is people in that sense. It can be anyone who you're connected to on any level. It doesn't necessarily need to be mental, intellectual, even though with Aquarius that is the strongest type. It can be any, like my neighbor. I just live with that person in the same block of flats. So, but Sun conjunct Pluto. Remember what I said, the happenings which turn things around. This is the week when we meet in the elevator, it's not the typical meeting. Something is in the air. Either someone says something, a look in the eye, but there is going to be Pluto change in the relationship after. Put this into any context you want. Changes are coming in a surprising. Why surprise? Well, Uranus, not yet on the 20th, later on in the week, but is going to be activated by more than one energy, more than one planet. That means surprise, surprise, surprise. And with Uranus retrograde, usually the surprise, the awareness of it is brand new, ultra new. Uranus, futuristic, right? But the fact itself, retrograde, was there all along. As in my elevator situation, the attraction did not happen in the elevator. It was there all along, but in gross ignorance, as it should be always, right? Uranus, the surprise, but the awareness is going to be brand new, right? But put this into any context. Let me give you the best possible context that I wish passionately to happen to many of my listeners who I know are in this domain. You write and pile up divine beauty in your writings. Maybe whatever that is, poetry or whatever it is that you create, to the eye, in the eyes of the divine, it is like truly something unique. But you already by long accepted the fact that, well, I'm not going to be sharing this on a larger scale and this will not do anything to me. This will not change my life. This is just a bit of magic in my soul, which I do for, of course, myself, my being, and perhaps my loved ones or someone who I think deserves it. There can be a moment when, just like those singers who are one-hit wonders. There's the one-hit wonder. This occasion, something goes so wrong in the sense to your usual norm, that you get a recognition you could never even dream of, or your poetry gets you somewhere in high power, right? Pluto conjunct Sun. I so wish that this surprise comes to you guys, where You did not see this coming. I actually saw this energy play out in a YouTube short where, there is this singer, Sophia Liz Baxter, and she has a very famous song, Murder on the Dance Floor. But that's old, right? Like we are. But it was a big hit, very, very big hit. There was some kind of movie, or I'm not sure what, which included that song in a scene it had. And the song is old, but new generations fell in love with it. So it got a massive spike, and the singer, Sophia Liz Baxter, was interviewed, and she said, well, she loves it and how honor, all the stuff, the happiness, but she could never in a million trillion years see this coming. Never. This was a big surprise and shock for her in a genuine way. This is the type of energy I'm speaking about, where you don't see this coming and it can be very, very beautiful. Now, beautiful Venus conjunct Saturn, but the beauty is in your hands because it's Pisces energy, and Pisces has a dark side. The universe may give the surprise, but you can be a sorrowful beavered and then say, nah, it's past. I'm not excited by this anymore. I don't want it anymore. Too late for me. But then the universe comes, B, as in bitch. You are making this too late. It's not Saturn. It's not the external. It's you are Saturn here. You are choosing to make it too late. You're choosing to be sorrowful. So all that I'm saying, we can ruin it for the self. And in this week, big time, so big time that we can offend the universe. If this week life comes with smiles, don't you dare. Don't shed the tear of sorrow now because you are going to upset the cosmos. And this is almost like a threat, actually. I know, but I'm a craziest. I'm not the professional astrologer. This is almost like a threat to the inner victim and the sorrowful inner child. Don't play up this week. Because this week, smile. Smile. If life wants to make you smile, you better take it with dignity and honor. It's not about the wound, and it is. Despite the fact that it's all about the wound. Because life and the cosmos at the same time also put salt on the wound. And you have to smile. Mercury squares Chiron. And it's Mercury, the lower mind. You want to be sorrowful. Because your wounds are triggered by love. When life wants to heal your wounds and you don't want it, it's not gonna be smiles. I'll tell you that. But this is exactly the truth energy. Go back to 2020, when your healing was everything you prayed for. When love or the help or whatever you have is everything you prayed for. When you have it, you're like the kitten who's taking the first bath. So this is where we must not do this. We must accept kindness with smiles and honor this week. But Chiron squaring Mercury, our moons are going to be reminded of triggered, but not as a cheap or even free obstacle from the universe. No, no, no. We had an intense healing period under Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius a few months ago, where we had to learn powerful lessons about our triggers and our wounds, and that our wounds are 1,000,000,000% present in most people from our social spheres, because that's how we attract each other. It's not the good that attracts each other, it's the wound. Why? Because having the same wounds means we heal each other if we are cooperative and mature enough. We are not, but that's another thing. So that's why it's not cruelty. It's how serious were we under the Mercury retrograde season. The promises we made to the self, and this even includes the typical New Year resolution type of energy, because Mercury just went over the new moon in Capricorn point. So what I'm saying is that whatever we promised ourselves, of course, we can't expect full commitment, Capricorn, hence the square, but at least we can try and take them more seriously than before. That's a must. We need to help the self in like a mature, serious type of like person. Nodes of the moon in Pisces, Virgo axis is a massive catalyst for all of what I said, because the North Node, the nodes of fate, these are the nodes of the moon. So this is lunar energy. The deepest possible feeling that animates us to choose whatever we choose in life. Our anima. So that's what the most important component of the self, trillion times more component, happiness seeking wise than any other planet or anything in astrology. The nodes of the moon without planets would be enough to know where things are going. Right? That's because this is the happiness center. Only when we are aligning to what the soul wants will we feel happy. Anything else is artificial drug. Happiness, food, sex, I don't know. Any climbing the mountain, staying healthy, going to the gym, being in harmony with nature. That is not something altruistic whatsoever. That is self-service in full extent. So let's not confuse, right? Anyway, so the nodes of the moon. Self-service is just one side of happiness. But it's not even necessary, because there are very many people out there for whom self-service is given fully to the partner. They don't need to serve themselves. The partner is in charge for two organisms, two egos, two anything. And usually those are the happiest possible couples, because the other partner will be charged with something the other partner is totally disabled at. So the perfect happiness. But that's just romantic. Happiness needs us to be honest to the soul and give it in a healthy degree what it wants. Healthy degree means that our soul happiness cannot eclipse the ego, because that's also BS. That's also imbalance and unhealthy. Cannot eclipse the mind, because that's insanity. Or for some people, extreme hedonism or extreme something. Mystics, spiritualists swim in the same waters as psychopaths drown in. The same thing, the two is the same thing. And not upset the physical body, not upset the philosophical mind, and then everything is okay. So balance for happiness is a must. And we also have sacrificial center, believe it or not. A part of us where pain and sacrifice and being used is the satisfaction. Saturn, right? And the nodes of Saturn. That's part of happiness too. And we need to be in maximum possible for us personally awareness in all of these to be happy. Because without happiness, life and the earthly sphere and everything is basically a cruel prison, cruel, unforgiving prison. And the key is not the mind, not free your mind, free your heart to escape that. So let's go on the 23rd. Where we have Mercury opposing Mars. Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer. Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, of course. Now this, without a shadow of a doubt, will create contradictory discussions or sitting down to the table in families, jobs, husband, wife, co-workers, co-anythings, negotiations, speaking out the reality, the facts, what to do. Because Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer, this is where, in order for us to make a decision or take an action, have a reaction, or anything Mars to do, to expand energy, to have an effect on something, we need to know, Mercury, the situation itself, the correctness of it, hence negotiation. So before we can make big plans, or better said, before we can start mobilizing ourselves for 2025 in a bigger way, we need to get things straight. As I said, with our partners, mommy, daddy, boss at work, ourselves, the landlord, real estate energy Cancer. Am I buying, selling, moving? Where do I belong to? Right? Communications in the family, discussions. What do we do? How do we do it? Am I moving out? Let's say a child going to uni, high school, going somewhere. What are we doing? Logistics. So this is the more useful expression of this energy, because the not so useful expression of this energy is the same old conflict. Why did you not do what you promised? You said you're gonna buy me this and that, especially like child, Cancer, family, child, mommy, parenting. Capricorn as well, but the masculine expression, strict daddy. Why didn't you buy me this? I got top grade. Why is my new laptop promise not on the table yet? This is gonna be so typical. But this can be in a different way. Son, you know when I promised you the new laptop? We're broke right now. Please understand me. And what could this energy do? Yes, the disappointment, but it can also do, oh, dad, let me help you out. The opposite of disappointment, the honey. So, an opposition, yes, two sides facing and the negotiation, this and that, tit for tat. But no one says it has to be something bad at the end of the day. It can be something wonderful, especially when the other party serves your interest more than you. An opposition can be that. Why not? So, but it can also be the toxic energy, Cancer's dark side, Mars retrograde, Mars in Cancer, passive aggressive, toxic, sorrowful, I'm not cooperating anymore, the bitterness, the sorrowfulness. Daddy wants to solve the problem, I don't want it anymore. Leave me alone. This, and especially from females, feminine energy, daughter, wife, mom, grandma, the Karen type of colleague. Yep, it's gonna be not a very easy energy. The feminine themselves are gonna be triggered big time. So the wounds, right? Mercury square Chiron, the salt on wound, the abandonment issue, or something like that. But it's also gonna poison the air around them. Not a very easy energy. However, I'm hoping everyone gets the better side of the energy where, for example, you're not alone. You have family. Cancer, Mars and Cancer. Like family, you upset your family in a good way. Son, why are you seeking help from friends or whatever when your family is here? Come here first and then to strangers. What a beautiful expression of this energy. And I'm hoping it's this because Mercury trines Uranus. Uranus is Mercury's higher octave in the sign of Taurus. This is the type of energy where, well, you thought there wasn't any money, but there is money. There is a fund. There is a possibility. There is a way. There is help. Someone stepped up to pay for it. A beautiful pause, or you don't need anyone's help because you found the way, you found the breakthrough, you found the idea, you found your own brainstorm harvest. Not the brainstorm, it's the harvest of the brainstorm. Let's move on to the 24th, where Venus trines Mars. And again, this is Pisces Venus, unbound, very happy, exalted, beautiful, simply said beautiful. If I'm not mistaken, Venus is exalted at 23 degrees of Pisces or something like that, according to the Ptolemaic rules. But I'm not 1,000,000% sure, so I might. But if I'm right, then this is even better. This is beautiful energy because something comes from the soul, spirit, forgiveness, help, honey, love, solidarity, family, community, beauty, love, romance, fantasy, spirit, magic, miracle, alchemy, whatever it is that you want. Because you had to conjure this up for your Mars retrograde. This comes from the past. Or this is the first sign, even if it doesn't come fully yet, that Venus retrograde later on towards March is gonna dish something very beautiful out for you. Anyway, let's move on. 26th is Venus sextile Uranus. This is equal, the same thing that I said, but from a Venusian dimension. But remember, sextile, you need to use this. It's not like a trine where it just is. A trine is almost like dinner time, but mommy even cut it up for you. All you need to do is literally chew it. But there is dinner time when you just have good food in the fridge and you have to warm it up. Warm it up is sextile. It's there, but you need to warm it up. Trine is a mommy is the perfection of a mother. It's there in the most magical, perfect, easy, comfortable, and mommy loving way. So some people prefer trines, other people actually prefer sextiles, you know. But at the essence here, the big idea is that the surprise, the breakthrough, the positive, something good can happen, dream, creativity, fantasy. This is when the Piscean element can bring the honey to the table. That spark of magic, the romance, the extra love, the extra care, the hug, the kiss, the appreciation. If you're a professional, there is positive review and feedback, but there is that rare, and I'm not speaking about the tearful, the too much. Rather, either it's a few words, but it's so, I don't know, fitting or so complimentary or so out of context complimentary, where you're not complimented for what you should be. You're complimented for something you had not really intended. That type of energy where it's all smile, really. It's all flattery. It's all honey. And Neptune, as I said, is conjunct the North Node. The dream. The dream is real, is big. Spirit is calling, but it's all illusion, and you know that. You can't follow spirit classically, like, because you know it's a lie. From end to tail, it's a lie, because it's giving you the ability to see through it. You have the ability, but why? The collective news. What's true and what is the government really doing? Who is what? What are they agreeing upon, actually, in any context? Train your muscles so much that now the universe cannot fata morgana you into, it has to be direct. It has to even give you the choice. What illusion do you want to put on my path that I'm setting out for, paving for you? Choose your illusion. Do you want romantic illusion, career illusion? What type of illusion do you want to follow? Choose your drug. But that type of energy, if we're really mature souls and don't have big narcissistic impulses within our being, that's when, you know, the fool and tarot, but the fool who sees the world, the fool who sees the destination with eagle sharp eyes, and that fool is the fool who can take it for granted, the getting there, not the type of fool who is blindly has, not that type of, the type of journey where, you know, you just walk the walk and you're there. The final, of course, the dare is a new, totally new adventure in itself, because you're a fool again. When you're there, you're a fool again. But it's planned, it's expected, it right, it's so right, right? This type of energy. So we're actually called upon the external doom and gloom, because Mars retrograde in Cancer has the doom and gloom side to it. Remember the toxicity. Mars retrograde in Cancer is a touch more toxic than Mars in Scorpio retrograde, even. Because Mars in Scorpio is comfortable, right? It has the scorpion's tail. It can just point. Mars in Cancer has to fill its surroundings with pure poison, excrete like a puffer fish or something like that. So it's a touch more ugly and more delusional and more extra special in a bad way. So of course the collective energy is what it is. It is almost like offensive. This is where the leaders who are either terminating their mandates or stepping down are being insulted as maximum possible to their dignity, but not by who you expect, but everyone, even who you would never expect, got to that level where they can't help themselves anymore. They need to express the mistrust or disgrace So that part is ongoing. However, we need to really use the blessings that we have right now to start embracing the dream, but in a way where we see through it, actually. The lucid dream. This is not the typical. So I hope this helped. Thank you, everyone, and until next time, bye for now.